I was watching the Super Bowl, and the thing I was waiting for the most was the Wicked trailer. I was talking to Winnie. She said talk to you about it. So when are we getting a Wicked trailer?
I can't say when we're getting it, because all I can say is, in order for me to have gotten a trailer for the Super Bowl, I would have had to turn over visual effects to be done by now, like so many months ago when we were in the middle. So there are some technical things that prevented it. But we have a lot coming out at some point. I like that. I can't.
Winnie did tease that we're getting new songs for this Wicked. What can we expect? How are they weaved into the story?
But they are well woven into the story.
I love that. Maybe you can tell me this. Is there anything that we are crazy changes? Tell me anything about that?
That we're still working, and we won't be jumping into it's working.
There's been rumors about a Crazy Rich Asians musical. Have you heard about this, and how were we with that?
Yeah, I'm very involved in it, and I've heard it out loud, and we are currently making some adjustments to it to make it even better, and hopefully you'll be hearing more soon.
First of all, we've heard that there's some original songs in Wicked for Good. What can you tease about them, and how have you worked them into the screenplay?
I think, going to be murdered if I say anything about any of them, but I will say that Stephen Schwartz is a complete genius, and watching his process and the way he figured out where in the movie they needed to go was particularly interesting. And once he knew where they needed to go in terms of what emotional stuff we needed to see the characters go through, watching him then get his sort of idea for what the songs were going to be was like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, and I can't wait to be able to talk about it in Thanksgiving of next year.
Oh yeah, we're a little far out. We're a little far out. Now, there were some wonderful expansions to the stage musical in Part 1. What aspects of the story do you want to flesh out in Part 2?
Part 2 actually, I think, has a little bit more room for being able to explore. Part 1 actually, was pretty packed in terms of what was in the first act of the play and all the things we knew we had to do. So we explored, we deepened, we tried to give you moments that you didn't have in the play and make sure we were taking advantage of the fact that this was a movie and you could fly and you could move around and you could get right up in the girls' faces. Movie 2 is, there's a little bit more space for interpretation and to go to a few places that you don't go in the play. So I'm excited for people to see it.
Look, the second Wicked is probably one of the most anticipated movies that I've been hearing about. How far away are we from a real first look at the movie, or maybe even like a teaser?
Oh God, I don't know, but I do know they're working really hard on it because I keep wanting to bug them, but I'm like, don't, leave them alone, leave them alone. They're cutting the movie. But I do also love the marketing department at Universal, who has done the most extraordinary job, as you can see from what happened with the first movie. So I totally trust them to just knock it out of the park.
Look, My Old Ass was one of my favorite movies of last year. I'm going to tell you, I related to it so much, you will not believe. This movie broke me, and I got a question for you. Did it break you, and how did you toe the line between hilarious and the devastating?
It didn't break me, I will say. It was a really fun movie to make, even though it was really heartfelt and there was a lot of emotion. We all were really passionate about being there, and independent film, there's such a sense of community, and so there was a lot of joy. But it was walking that line between having it feel heartfelt and fun, and also sad. It was a fun challenge. Those are the movies that I want to make more of. Like Chris Columbus is one of my biggest influences as a director and writer. So it was a joy. It truly was a joy.
Look, congratulations on the nomination for Best Original Screenplay. What does it mean for you to be nominated by your fellow writers, your peers?
It's insane. I never thought this would happen. It's the greatest honor. I mean, these are other writers who are so genius at their craft, and to be recognized for the script is just insane. It's amazing. I'm so in shock about it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got a YA series in the works at Amazon. What can you tell me about Sterling Point?
It's actually not really a YA specific series. I will say that it's something very me. It's very grounded and real and fun, and there are young people in it, but it's about, again, just authenticity, and it's very sad as well, but has a lot of fun parts.
Now, what lessons did you take away from My Old Ass's success, and how can you apply that moving forward?
I I try not to think about the success. I mean, you just have to think about the moment that you're in. The writing process is truly my favorite part of the process. So I'm having such a great time writing the show, and I try not to get too caught up on like how it's going to turn out, because there's just so many things you can't control. So it's a little bit of like a surrendering thing and just enjoying the moment. And to me, this is like the writing part is my favorite part.
Say Nothing is based on the real events surrounding the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Can you talk about your approach to telling the story, both historically accurate and dramatically engaging?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you have to include from a historical perspective, and fortunately, this series is about a group of fascinating people you don't always like, many of them, right? And in this case, their lives were so compelling, and their strengths and weaknesses, their flaws were compelling enough so that really you were just letting the characters kind of set the tone and sort of trying sometimes to like get out of the story's way. It was often about figuring out what not to include as much as it was about figuring what to include.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but season 3 is going to be the final season. What were you guys excited to explore with these characters in season 3?
Oh, that's great. I would say, just the transformative power of love, and how unselfish love is really the greatest of all things, and everything is subordinate of that. I think for me, that's the thing that I'm most excited to share with the audience.
And I think that they really gave us a chance to complete. We always say the show is built around Heron and Seraphim, these two brothers, and we really get to complete their story and see that story come to what we feel is a really beautiful conclusion. And so we're just excited we were able to finish the story, and that we're grateful for, because Netflix supported us all the way.
Now, speaking of finishing the story, we know that there's a tremendous fan base out there for this show. What are you excited for fans to explore with the final season coming up?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, too, we want to shout out to the fans. We love our fans. We have the greatest fans, and we're just so incredibly appreciative for them supporting the show and just being the best fans in the world. And I think it's kind of what Charlie said. We're excited to see the story kind of, culminate to where it culminates. And we think that if you're a fan of the show and you've seen it from, the very first episode, they're going to be rewarded for sticking by it and waiting and watching it all the way through. And I think they're going to find it to be something that's very emotionally satisfying.
And the one thing I will say to tease we love season 3. We have an amazing villain. The person who voices Kronos will blow people away. We're waiting for Netflix to announce that, but he was amazing. And then there's a moment at the end of season 3 where literally it was something that was suggested by a fan at the end of episode 1. And when I read it on Twitter, I told my brother, "Oh, that's a good idea. We're going to use that." And so I haven't bookmarked that tweet. I don't know if legally we can give that person credit, but it's a beautiful, beautiful moment at the end of the show. I'm forever grateful to whoever tweeted that idea, because it was a good one.
Fans, we hear you.
So
I love that.